The light.
This is 4-year-old Owen Stark today, a happy, relatively healthy young boy. But less than 24 months ago, that was not the case. From the moment he was born in the tiny town of Eldon, Missouri, to parents Justin and Tanya Stark, Owen was a delight to be around. A bouncing baby boy full of life and love that would join 2 sisters and a brother. Life was good for this family of 6 until one day a shopping trip to buy a swing set for Owen would tear it all apart.
He collapsed on us June 10th, 2010 in heart failure.
And that's where the story really begins. And it's one of heartache and hope and of the amazing medical team that would save young Owen's life.
Driveway 1191 Partridge, cross St. Julian, car 7521.
Owen was rushed to a nearby hospital, barely clinging to life.
We knew something wasn't right, but they just couldn't pinpoint what it was.
It was a parent's worst nightmare. Chest x-rays would show an enlarged heart. He was immediately airlifted to St. Louis Children's Hospital, where a medical team worked relentlessly to save the little boy's life.
At the time he presented, he had such severe pulmonary hypertension that I did not have high expectations that it would get better in the window of time he needed to get better to prevent a transplant.
Dr. Stuart Sweet is medical director of the pediatric lung transplant program at Children's Hospital, the most active pediatric lung transplant program in the world.
He was so sick that his heart and his lungs weren't working well enough for him to survive.
You know, at that point, you're just wondering you're still in shock pretty much.
Owen's condition continued to get worse. Renowned cardiothoracic surgeon Dr. Charles Huddleston was called.
The next step beyond placing him on a ventilator and then placing him on medications was to put him on this machine called ECMO.
They told us that if he would survive the 3 days, then he would have to have a double lung and a heart transplant in order to survive.
By now, pediatric cardiologist Dr. Mark Grady had been brought on board and knew the situation was dire.
Our experience with trying to transplant children off ECMO has been disastrous, so we felt like if Owen's only chance is a transplant, we got to find something other than ECMO.
That something else would be a relatively unknown German device called the Novalung. It had never before been used in the United States.
It basically is a simple membrane that the heart pumps blood through it, and it takes away the carbon dioxide and adds back oxygen, much like what your lungs do.
Dr. Avihu Gazit, medical director of the Cardiac Intensive Care Unit, was the first to treat Owen.
We just had to think outside of the box.
Within days of his arrival, little Owen Stark would make medical.
You're just in complete shock. You know, you just start praying. That's pretty much all you can do.
Pray and have confidence in the Children's Hospital medical team, and that they had.
What makes a difference is if they make connection with you and if they trust you. And I think they trusted us from the beginning.
The key now was getting FDA approval to use the Novalung for compassionate use. They turned to Pediatric Clinical Research Coordinator Dee Dee Epstein. Her job is to research and secure FDA approval for cutting-edge treatments that doctors need to save lives.
Dr. Huddleston called me on a Saturday afternoon at home and said, "We got this situation. This really needs to happen, and it needs to happen as soon as possible."
By that evening, she was calling Germany, pleading her case.
It was mostly an issue of working through the regulatory hoops and working with the company.
Within 2 weeks, the process was complete and they were ready to proceed. The operation to insert the Novalung was extremely innovative and a huge success.
You're watching a miracle unfold right before your eyes. There were tears here. There were definite tears of joy.
When he first opened them eyes, it was almost like he was born again. And we had our little boy back.
We really didn't know if physiologically it's going to work at all. So first of all, I think Dr. Huddleston is who actually had the first idea and was willing to go forward with this procedure made a difference.
He wouldn't be here without the Novalung.
To everyone's delight and surprise, Owen's lungs began responding to medicines, and 23 days after being placed on the Novalung and just 4 days after turning 2, he was able to successfully come off it. That day was a day of pure joy.
Everybody that was on the team literally in the ICU, there were some high fives going on.
To actually perform such a procedure, to take the risk, I think that was the greatness of this team effort.
This required a skilled nursing staff, which they definitely have at St. Louis Children's Hospital.
That's the neatest part of my job, is to be part of a team that gives families hope and gives them extra time with their children.
For now, Owen remains on medicine 24/7 through a pump he carries in a little backpack made by a...
Many children with pulmonary hypertension are very effectively treated with medications. And so I would be optimistic that we can put off lung transplant for many years and hopefully indefinitely.
On their twice-yearly follow-up visits, the family makes sure they make the...
Man, what did you do?
These days, Owen spends lots of time on the swing set his parents were finally able to buy him. And although his future may be uncertain, one thing is not. The special bonds that were formed will last.
What I asked the parents to do is to send me a Christmas card with this picture on it. That's what I want to do. I want to see every Christmas, see how he's doing.
When children scold her, she has my picture holding him showing up on the screen, which it makes you feel better. It makes you feel good. I mean,
The picture of Dr. Gazitz, it's going to be on my phone forever.